So total investment, you're now looking at a total of £341,000 for a buy-to-let property if you're looking at £1 million property in central London. So, a lot of you have been reaching out to me about the cost of buying a home in the UK, and most recently about the cost of buy-to-let property in London. And I think that's because prime London is seeing so much more activity again since more than a year and a half, and London is just so attractive when it comes to investment. Whether you are looking at central London, you're looking at boroughs such as northwest London and Camden, or whether you're looking at to the west, as in Westminster, which we are in now, or South Kensington, Kensington and Chelsea. Any of these boroughs in central London, zone 1 and 2, are just fantastic investment opportunities. So, right now we are in Westminster, just a short walk from Paddington, and a short walk to Hyde Park and Marylebone. So the location is just amazing, and I just felt the need to share this with you as we talk about the cost of buy-to-let property in London. It's a freehold building. I'm just going to switch this around. This is a freehold building, has around about 3,000 square foot. It does need some work, but as you can see, you have those shutters that let in so much light, and it's worth noting that it's 7 o'clock in the evening, and look how much light this brings in. Fantastic ceiling height, and this floor alone has 1,500 square foot. It's just huge. Where the building is actually split up into 3 units. So we're standing in the upper unit, which is a 4-bedroom masonette. In terms of works, you're going to need you're looking around about 180 pound per square footage. That's the way that we've estimated this particular one. And if you're going to take into consideration the whole of, look at those shutters, the whole of the property, you're looking around about £500,000 because it is 3,000 square foot. Yet, I don't believe you're going to need a refurb for the whole of the building. In terms of rental, for the whole building, you should be expecting anything along the lines of, you're looking around about 80k to 100k. Once you refurbish, you're going to easily be able to get yourself to 100k for the year. So you're looking about yield of just around about 4% almost, which is pretty standard for central London. Now there are parts of London where you can get a better yield. The investors I work with and people who I support, they love central London. It's the long-term game that they're looking, and it's a capital growth, which you just don't get in other parts of London. So the whole unit up here is of 1,500 square foot, is the whole of the upper end, the 4-bedroom masonette. So let's talk about buy-to-let cost in London. Let's start off with a mortgage. Now, assuming that you need a mortgage, I'm going to recommend that you speak with a mortgage broker. Get someone to recommend a great mortgage broker, whether it's a family, a friend, an associate. Speak to them. So they're going to help you connect with the best possible lenders, assuming you need a mortgage, and it's going to cost you around about £500, and that's nothing. 500 quid, connected with the best possible lenders out there, and you get to choose, and you don't even have to do the hard graft to find them. If you need a recommendation, let me know. I can certainly point you in the right direction. When it comes to the mortgage fee, so there's a product fee that the lenders charge you, and that's going to range anything between £3,000 and £5,000. If you have a limited company and you're buying within the limited company, that's going to be on the upper end. So let's call that £5,000 easily when it comes to the product fee. You can put that towards the loan, which is fantastic. and I would definitely recommend you do. Even if you have the cash, I mean, why wouldn't you? Here's the other room. Even if you have the cash, why wouldn't you make the most of it? When it comes to your conveyancing fees, so conveyancing is your solicitors, which you will need to be able to go through the searches, the titles, the legality of everything. So I recommend that you have a look at that. And that's going to cost you, give or take, between £1,000 and £2,000. Let's talk about how much you need to put as a deposit. That's going to be the biggest cost that you're going to have. And to keep numbers simple, let's talk about £1 million property. £1 million property, most lenders are going to give you 75% loan to value. And that means that on £1 million property, you're going to have to come up with £250,000. And that's for your deposit. This is assuming you're a UK resident, a UK investor. If you're from overseas, that gets a little bit more complicated, and I'm not going to attempt to share that with you here. I'll do another video if you want me to share more about overseas investment, the cost for that. Just give me a shout. I'll be more than happy to share that with you. So now let's look at buyer's agents. The UK and especially London is becoming much more popular when it comes to buyer's agents. So when you go out and buy a property and you actually go and call an agent, that agent is working on behalf of the seller, and he's there or she's there to extract the most amount of money from you. Now, it will stand to reason that you want someone working alongside you that knows the market, can negotiate on your behalf and let you know whether what you're buying is a good investment. So I would recommend you use a buyer's agent, and they will usually charge anything between 1% and 2%. I want to keep numbers simple again. So let's just say on £1 million property, commission 1% is going to be £10,000. Now you're looking at your survey. A survey is when someone comes in, checks the whole property, and then lets you know whether there's anything wrong with it. There's several types of surveys, but let's talk about two. One is the most basic one, which at the very least I will always recommend. Most of the investors that I work with, they usually just want to do the basic one when it comes to flats, and especially newly built flats. However, when it comes to freehold, such as like a building like this where we're sitting in at the moment, most definitely you want to go for a structural survey, and that could cost you probably around about £2,000. I mean, we had a surveyor come in here a few days ago, and they took a good 3 hours. So it's a real in-depth survey. Someone comes in and tells you if there's anything structurally wrong with the property. They look at electric wires, they look at damp, they look at absolutely everything. It's peace of mind, and it's worth the money. So £1,000 to £2,000. Now let's just call it £1,000. The basic one probably you get away with it, probably around £600. So let's meet right in the middle and say £1,000 for your survey. So we are now on the ground floor of this freehold building as we go through the cost of buy-to-let property in London. And I mean, the theme goes on when you talk about this building. You're looking at plenty of natural light coming in from these huge windows. And then ceiling height, I mean, that's even higher. You've got original features continue to go throughout the whole building. You've got your fireplace. Now, this originally was used as a coffee shop most recently, in the most recent years. When you look at the whole of the building, including its commercial unit in terms of rental income, you're looking at 100K, give or take. So excellent investment and excellent returns as well. So let's continue and wrap up what we've seen so far in terms of costs of a buy-to-let property in London. We looked at broker fees, £500. Deposit, £250,000 when we're looking at 25% of £1 million property. You're looking at your mortgage fee, £5,000. Buyer's fee, buyer's agent, if you're going to use a buyer's agent, £10,000. Survey, £1,000, and your solicitor fees, which are going to be £2,000. I said the £1,000 before, let's call it £2,000. You take all that into account, you're looking at 18,500, not including the 250,000. Include the 250,000 pound deposit, you're now looking at 268,000 pounds. There is another cost which is one of the highest as well, if not the highest, not counting your deposit. And that is your stamp duty. You have to pay stamp duty on land or property here in the UK, and that depends on your situation. If you're a first-time buyer, here we're talking about property investment, so we're going to talk about additional property for yourself, and that's done in brackets. I'm going to share a calculator, a mortgage calculator, so you can work that out given your situation, but that does go through brackets if you're a UK buyer. And then you have a surcharge if you're an overseas buyer. Again, I would rather do a video separately if you want me to give you some insight into overseas buyers. So there you have it. If you look at your tax on £1 million property, you're looking around about £73,000, and I'll show that calculation here for you. That's £73,000, that's right, you heard that right. So total investment, you're now looking at a total of £341,000 for a buy-to-let property if you're looking at £1 million property in central London. So I'm just making my way to Oxford Street from Southwick Street. At the moment it's Friday evening, so I'm going to get some dinner. And just at the back of me, that's the way to Southwick Street. If we look at this way, that will take you up to Hyde Park. If I take that way, that will take you to Baker Street. If I continue going straight, that will take me to Marylebone. But I'm going to take a slight diversion and start going that way to go into Bond Street. Okay, cool. So, Southwick Street is closer to Paddington, and Paddington at the moment is going through a massive regeneration, and it's just a perfect investment. You've got the investment focusing in the canal of Paddington, but you also got a lot of investment going into the station, and the Crossrail is going to be huge. So those are the kind of investment you should be looking at, something that's really going to increase in value, your capital growth, but also the yield that you're going to be able to achieve. So great investment opportunity. Give me a shout if you want to find out more about what's going on in prime London. If you're looking for an estate agent in London, I'm your man, and my team will do everything we can to make sure you get the best possible outcome. If you're enjoying the content, please do click on that bell, subscribe, so you can get updates of areas in prime London.